What's going on, guys? Back at you guys with another presentation. I want to talk to you guys real quick about your relatives. Um, One thing you got to understand, and I know I've talked about relatives before. One thing you guys got to understand about these so-called relatives is that, and I had to get it in my head, and I had a buddy trying to get it through my dome. One thing you got to understand about these relatives is that they're not concerned about your well-being. Um, Relatives are not concerned about your well-being. You know, I always wanted to believe that relatives are concerned about your well-being, that they're concerned about just you in general. Um, One thing I had to understand is that people in general are not concerned about your well-being, but I always wanted to believe that relatives are concerned about your well-being, and that's what was effing me up. Relatives are not concerned about your well-being. Um, if it had to be their well-being before your well-being, your relatives are more concerned about their well-being versus your well-being. Um, if it had to be them under a bridge or you under a bridge, you'll find yourself under a bridge before they'll be under a bridge with your behind. So what I had to understand, even when it comes to so-called relatives, these people are more concerned about their well-being and what they got going on versus what you got going on. And this is why you have to be about your business and you have to be focused on doing things that's going to benefit you. And this is why I stay focused on me. Do things that are going to equal success. Do things that are going to equal financial security, because everybody's doing what they got to do to make sure they straight. So you got to do what you got to do to make sure you straight. One thing about me, I'm always proactive. I'm always doing things that's going to ensure my success. One thing about me, I've never been lazy. And some people will say, well, why are certain guys so motivated? Well, as an adult, you better be motivated. I mean, who gonna take care of you? Just the mere fact of you being an adult, that's what motivates you. I mean, as an adult, I mean, no one is gonna give you any handouts. I never understood why some grown dudes talk about, oh, I'm not motivated. Well, you gonna find your grown behind under that bridge, you know? So what I had to understand is that even when it comes to these so-called relatives, they're not concerned about your well-being. And that's the number one thing that motivates me, is that, especially like once you're an adult, no one else is concerned about your well-being. You better be concerned about your well-being. You better be concerned, because if you're not making decisions and doing things that are gonna ensure that you straight, you gonna find yourself effed up. And that's why I'm always doing things to better myself, because I understand that relatives and nobody else for that matter is concerned about my well-being. So as an adult, I gotta be concerned about my own well-being. And that's why I'm so focused, and that's why I have the drive that I have, because I always wanted to believe, and my buddy kept trying to tell me over and over, your relatives are not concerned about you. They ain't concerned about what you got going on. I always wanted to believe that these so-called relatives were concerned, but they not concerned. They could really care less. You know, they really could care less. It's hurtful to know that relatives don't care nothing about you. I mean, it's really, really hurtful. But my buddy kept trying to tell me over and over again, your relatives, they ain't concerned about you. And, you know, because so many people want to believe that somebody cares about them. I think, it's very devastating to have to accept that no one is concerned about your well-being. And I think well, that's something that I struggled with for the longest. I always wanted to believe that someone was concerned about me, that someone cared. Um, I never wanted to believe that I'm all on my own in this world and no one is concerned about me, including my own relatives. I never wanted to believe that, but it's the truth. And I see that more than ever. And this is why I see that you better be concerned about you and you better be doing what you got to do to get you together, because relatives are not concerned about you. And it's a very devastating reality to see that no one is concerned about you. I mean, it can really F you up in the head to see that no one is concerned about your well-being. It's real. I mean, you want to believe that relatives are concerned, but they not. And I feel that within itself should give you the motivation that you need to elevate. That should give you the motivation that you need to make decisions that are going to ensure your success. I mean, because you all you got. And if you find some people along the way, and they don't have to be blood related, but if you find some people along the way that are concerned about your well-being, you want to hold on to these people because that's your family. And so if you find some people along the way that are concerned about your well-being, hold on to those people. Never lose contact with those people, because it's a cold, cold world out here. And it's very devastating when you see that your own relatives are they concerned about themselves. And that's what I had to get in my head. These so-called relatives that I want to go around on special occasions and celebrate and be all happy and stuff, they ain't concerned about me. And that's why I had to realize, why go around these people that are not concerned about you anyway? It really makes no sense to go around folks that's not concerned about you, because you don't want to find out the hard way. And then your feelings will really be hurt when you find out how these so-called relatives really feel about your behind. So I just felt this would be a good presentation to make. Just keep in mind that your relatives, uh, they concerned about themselves. And that's what I had to get in my head. I always wanted to believe that people were concerned about me, or that people cared about me. No, no, no. They ain't concerned. So if that don't give you motivation to do what you need to do to make sure you're in a good position, I don't know what will give you the motivation that you need. Because at the end of the day, you is all you got. Um, Most people don't want to admit that even their own relatives are not concerned about them, because it's too hurtful and too painful to have to admit, well, yeah, my own relatives ain't concerned, but yeah, they not concerned. But That's today's discussion. You guys have a good one. Talk to you soon. Happy Sunday.